This coach, listen, I know of her history. I know what a great player she used to be. I know what a great coach at times she is, but it's not working with the Indiana Fever. The reason why she's not fired already is because either the ownership or the team executives don't care or are not even watching the games, which I don't think that's the case. But Indiana Fever, they're doing well. They're championship contenders in the WNBA this year, but they are not because of Stephanie White. They are because of Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. That combo, that tandem makes Indiana Fever games worth watching.
What's up, Fever Nation? Good game last night. Wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination, but good enough to win. Took some late game heroics by CC and Kelsey, and at times Boston when she decided to play. Now, I'm not saying she doesn't most of the time, but Boston, you got to stay locked in from the tip. You can't have these moments where you're drifting off, not getting back down the floor, and your players, your defender or your person you're holding is running to the basket uncontested for a layup. That's not here, neither here nor now, but I'm sure y'all will address that in the film room if it is true y'all are watching film. Or did Sophie say y'all don't watch film? Another topic for another day. Missed layups. We still smoking layups, Fever Nation, Clark Nation. This team is still smoking layups. CC had 6 opportunities for assists. She only went in at the halftime with 4. There were 6 other opportunities to have 10 assists going in at the half, but it didn't happen because 5 of the 6 assists that should have been were missed layups, blown layups that were uncontested. There was one shot where Boston, one assist of the 6. I'm sorry, of the 6 assists, 1 was where Boston got the ball in scoring position, and she tries to go directly at Dallas's center. It was really reckless. She made no move, no post move, no head fake, no anything. She went right at the girl, and the girl blocked her shot. And it was like, Aaliyah, would you have done that down the stretch in a playoff game? You all need to be in a playoff mindset as we get closer and closer. You know we're going to have that long break coming up. So going into the break, y'all need to get that playoff mindset of finishing plays, especially around the basket. For those of you all who are just joining my channel, y'all know I like me some Linda Conn. Linda keeps it real. She doesn't care about the narrative. She has her own narrative. She's not like the WNBA who have to carry a certain narrative in order to have a show. That's the players, the actual players think is worthwhile. Not every player, but some of the players. Linda Conn is putting something out there that people need to hear. Okay? The Fever front office has some reckoning to do. A moment ago, they put out Kelly Croscott put out a statement saying that they were in full support of Stephanie White's actions with Alyssa Thomas and Dejanay Carrington after those events. Stephanie White came out in full support of those 2 players, somewhat supporting her own players in her own locker room. This is why she was booed. This is why Stephanie White was booed at the game, before the New York Liberty game, because of her own actions. The front office did not, apparently they came out in full support of White, not accepting any accountability of their own. Now, if there were some conversations behind the scenes, hey, Stephanie, you may want to back off the playing captain, save a ex-player. Okay, you may want to back off of that. Okay, the Fever Nation is not happy about it, and they voiced their opinions unequivocally, Stephanie. That's something we need to pay attention to. These are our faithful patrons who are going to show up to our games, definitely our home games, and also the road games. Like CC said, everywhere she play is a home game. Now, I want your honest opinion. Like I said a minute ago, I like me some Linda Conn. Linda Conn keeps it way too real for most. You probably won't see Linda Conn on the WNBA show with Andrea Carter and Monica McNutt and Chinea Gwumake because she's going to say a lot of things they don't want to hear. But I want to hear from you. Let me know what you think about what Linda Conn has to say about our fearless leader, Stephanie White. Leave a comment.
I don't oppose the hard foul, but I also don't think that she intentionally went for the net.
I listened to that whole post-game news conference by Stephanie White. There was no mention of Sophie Cunningham or any support for her own player. And remember last week when I told you about it on the show, when Sophie was elbowed in the face in another game and the officials gave Sophie Cunningham the foul and Stephanie White looked like a spectator because she didn't get up out of her seat to argue that call even after a video review let the call stand? That's Sophie's coach. She never supports Sophie Cunningham, ever. And then, of course, a lot of you guys who watch the show remind me, she did the same thing. Here she was praising the kind of player Dejanay Carrington is. She did the same thing with Alyssa Thomas when Caitlin Clark was on her back and Thomas had her arm to her throat. And there was support for Alyssa Thomas and not a lot of concern for Caitlin Clark in that situation by Stephanie White. This coach, listen, I know of her history. I know what a great player she used to be. I know what a great coach at times she is, but it's not working with the Indiana Fever. The reason why she's not fired already is because either the ownership or the team executives don't care or are not even watching the games, which I don't think that's the case. But Indiana Fever, they're doing well. They're championship contenders in the WNBA this year, but they are not because of Stephanie White. They are because of Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. That combo, that tandem makes Indiana Fever games worth watching, always worth watching. So Stephanie White, count your blessings for at least two of the players you're coaching because I feel, my opinion, they have kept you in your coaching seat, at least for the end of this year.
What say you, MMP fam? You like Linda Conn too? And now y'all see why I like her. She keeps it real. She's not pulling any punches. She's going to tell you like it is, whether you like it or not. And what are y'all going to call her? Misogynist? Y'all going to call her some of these words y'all be making up to say about Fever Nation? She's just telling you like it is. What Stephanie has done is deplorable. It's disgusting. She has yet to show full-throated support for her own players in her own locker rooms whenever they have a issue on the court. If it is a former ex-player that played with when she was coaching at Connecticut, son, she seems to go out of her way to say whatever she needs to say to appease a former player to the detriment, she goes out of her way to support another player not in her locker room, no matter how it looked on the film, no matter how it looked on the replay. Both of those plays are clearly defined by the officials during the game, except for the first one with Alyssa Thomas. That official, certified Clark hater, you can always count on her to make the questionable call. But in this last game, they got it right with Dejanay Carrington. There was no gray area. And yet, who does Stephanie White go out to defend, go out of her way to defend? A former player. So what do y'all think about Linda? Y'all starting to like Linda? Leave a comment.
Finds a release valve in Aaliyah Boston. Boston runs into Lee. No whistle either way. Wrap around. Tips into Boston.